Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Your Worship.
We'll call the meeting to order, and first thing we'll do is ask for the calling of the roll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Eady?
Present.
Reeve Eamon?
Present.
Councillor Koulis? Councillor Evans? Councillor Hines?
Present.
Councillor Jamieson?
Present.
Councillor Sidney?
Present.
We do have a quorum, Mayor Eady.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Okay, hearing none. Go to the first motion, which is that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held March 22nd, 2022 be adopted as printed. And mover for that, please. Councillor Jamieson, second by Councillor Sidney. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Revimo.
I had suggested some small typos to the clerk and deputy clerk last week, so I think they'll be slightly changed only because there's a mislabel.
Okay, anything else? Hearing nothing, all in favor? Carried, thank you. That the minutes of the special council meeting held March 28, 2022 be adopted as printed. Over again, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jamieson. Again, any questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, that the communication from the Ontario Provincial Police dated March 21st, 2022 concerning the OPP Recorded Patrol for Safe Communities project be received. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Revimo. Again, on this, is there any questions or comments on this? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried, thank you. That the Renfrew OPP detachment calls for service CFS billing summary report for the period of January to December 2021 be received. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Revimo. Any questions or comments on this? Revimo.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess I should note with some gratitude, if you look at the second last page, January to March of 2022, the year to date, the weighted hours are down almost half of last year. So that gives us some budget relief and confidence in this part of the year. So that was the only thing that really stood out to me. Thank you.
Okay. I think they're a wee bit down from in 2021 from 2022 as well, which is always a good thing. And that's always good news if they go down. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Oh, okay.
Carried. Thank you. Okay. Whereas hundreds of thousands of Canadians show their concern for the environment and their communities each year by participating in Pitching Canada projects to reduce, reuse, recycle, and properly dispose of waste, clean up and rejuvenate local neighborhoods, green spaces, ravines, waterways, illegal dump sites, restore habitats, and to establish composting and recycling projects. And whereas as Pitching Canada, a national community-based organization comprised of Eco Action and community volunteers, believe that maintaining a quality environment and encouraging civic pride is everyone's responsibility. And whereas Pitching Canada encourages voluntary action to keep communities clean and beautiful and restore and maintain a healthy environment. Now, therefore, the Council of the Town of Renfrew declares the week April 17th to the 23rd, 2022 as Pitch In Canada Week in the Town of Renfrew and invites all citizens in our region to actively participate in Pitch In Week. Mover, please. Councillor Sidney, second by Councillor Hines. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor? That would be carried. Thank you. That the Renfrew Council, the council approved the request from Renfrew Pride for the use of Low Square to host a Pride picnic from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday, June the 12th, 2022, as an alternate date, with an alternate date to be determined in the event of inclement weather. Mover, please. Councillor Sidney, second by Revimo. Questions, comments on this? Councillor Hines.
Just maybe a little clarification, and this may have been done through the clerk's office. The original request was for Saturday, June the 11th, and I do note that we are going to be dealing with the farmers market request coming to a Railway Avenue, and it takes place on Saturdays from 7 to 1. So I'm just, the date that you read for this event was June the 12th, which is Sunday, which is great because it doesn't overlap with that. So I just wonder if I could get some clarification from the clerk, because they did ask for June the 11th, although that would be a conflict.
Okay. Clerk Bulmer, do you have anything on that?
Yes, you're entirely correct. The farmers market through the BIA are planning to use Low Square and potentially part of Railway, I'm not sure, our parking lot on Saturdays commencing in May, and therefore there would be a conflict. The Pride organizers are in contact with the BIA to see if there's the ability to share space, but in the meantime, we are offering Sunday as an alternative date, and but that will get ironed out in the days to come to see if there's an ability to co-share the space, or if in fact it's better to have it on non-competing days.
Thank you for that information.
The letter from Chris Kite, the founder of the Renfrew Pride, as the last paragraph says, Sunday, June the 12th, and Saturday, June the 18th is alternative. So that'll have to be talked about, especially if it's the Saturday, June the 18th. Okay, Councillor Sidney. You had your hand up, I believe?
Yeah. No, I just want to just make a statement that it's good to see this moving forward. I know back in June in the letter it stated if 2020 was the first time that the Pride flag was raised in Renfrew, and I think this is great progression, and it's a good thing to see, and I think it's a wonderful thing that the organizers are going ahead with it, and with council's support, hopefully it moves forward. But it's good to see that the progression is happening. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. The Planner Withers report dated April the 6th, 2022 concerning part lot control exemption, Block 19, Plan 49M-93, Parts 1 to 20, Plan 49R-19989, Huntergate Subdivision, Phase 4 be received. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Revimo. Turn it over to Planner Withers for a report.
Thank you, Mayor Eady. This application is for another 6 units, another 6 townhouse units to the south of Block 18 on Forest View Crescent. Page 2 of 4 of the report provides a figure showing the location of Block 19 just north of the intersection of Hall Avenue and Forest View. It's effectively it's a very similar layout and block to Block 18. There's the 1.5 meter 5-foot easements all the way around to give access to the interior units. Servicing easement across the front. 6 separately conveyable townhouse dwellings will result from this, and the construction is already underway, as kind of described in previous meetings. That with townhouse units, you want to have concrete in before you create the lot lines on the party walls. And I think that's about it. If there are any questions, thank you.
Okay, any questions, comments, council? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried, thank you. The bylaw 27-2022 being a bylaw provide subsection 50-5 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 CP 13 as amended does not apply to Block 18 on Registered Plan 49M-93. You read it first time and deemed to have been read a second time. Mover, please. Revimo, seconded by Councillor Hines. Again, any questions or comments on this? Okay, all in favor? Carried, thank you. The bylaw 27-2022, being a bylaw provided the subsection 50-5 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990C P13 as amended, does not apply to Block 18 on Renfrew Plan 49M-93. Read a third time and be passed. Over, please. Review, second by Councillor Hines. Last chance. Any questions, comments?
Mayor Eady, just to clarify, I think you read Block 18 in that motion. It's just Block 19 for clarity.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? It's carried, thank you. Left the communications from Vincent Taxi Incorporated on behalf of itself, Brad's Taxi, and Taxi 5, dated April 1st, 2022, concerning tax bylaw 33-2021 be received. Mover, please. Okay, Councillor Jamison, second by Revimo. Questions or comments on this? Revimo.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'm going to support it and would urge other members of council to support as well. It's unusual to agree to this kind of an increase, but I know that we all have vehicles and recognize the challenges in keeping them full. So when they write in their letter that the increase in fuel costs, and then I think they also note the insurance costs as well, are causing them to have some difficulty to keep generating some profit, or at the very minimum cover their costs. So I think in this instance I can agree to a very hefty increase, but I don't see any other alternative, and I can support this. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Just for a little clarity to the public, the increase in town has gone from a $9 flat rate to $11 flat rate. Okay, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. The bylaw 28-2022, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 33-2012, as amended to license, regulate, and govern taxi cab owners and drivers in the town of Renfrew, be read the first time and deemed to have been read a second time. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jamison. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? We carried, thank you. The bylaw 28-2022, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 33-2012, as amended to license, regulate, and govern taxi cab owners, drivers in the town of Renfrew, read a third time and be passed. Over, please. Councillor Sidney, second by Councillor Hines. Last chance, any questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a comment, Mayor Eady, just for clarity for council. Even though the request did ask for the rate to be put in place immediately, we actually put it at effective date of May 1st. We thought given a couple-week time period for notification to the public would be beneficial. So the bylaw as it's written does provide for the rate to come into effect on May the 1st. And unless that's an issue with anyone.
No.
Okay.
It's good.
Any further comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Let me carry, thank you. Bylaw 28-2022, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 29-2016, as amended to establish fees and charges for services, activities, and use of property provided by the town of Renfrew, be read a first time and deemed to have been read a second time. Mover, please. Revimo, second by Councillor Hines. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. The bylaw 29-2022 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 29-2016 as amended to establish fees and charges for services, activities, use of property provided by the town of Renfrew be read a third time and be passed. Over, please. Councillor Jamison, second by Councillor Sidney. Again, any questions, comments? Review.
My apology, I put my hand up at the wrong time.
Okay, you're okay then? Councillor Hines.
Just a little bit of a clarification I'm looking for on Schedule C. I see where we have stroked out the volleyball courts because we no longer have those. And just the fees for 2022, unless my eyes are slanted here, I'm thinking that there's an error there where it says $40, $40, and then $150, and the track meet is now no cost, or perhaps we should have some clarification there.
Calling Director Hill to give a clarification on that. Yeah,
and it may be correct, but I'm thinking that it's just got the numbers a little mixed up there.
Councillor Hines, you are correct. The track meet is not no charge. I will have to look at that document because the track meets, I believe, are $750.
250? Or
I'm sorry, is that the number that is beside it? Sorry.
250 was 2021.
Sorry.
And I'm thinking the NA really belongs up where the $40 is for the volleyball court. It just maybe.
That is correct. $250 for the
track meet.
Track meet, and we no longer have tennis courts, or sorry, volleyball courts. So therefore, it's not applicable.
Yeah, and the football field lining is $750. That's where the.
That's correct. Sorry.
So it just needs a little bit of a correction there.
Anything else?
And these, just a second part of that question.
Sure.
So these court fees here are the ones established for the tennis courts and the pickleball courts.
That is correct.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing. All in favor? Sorry, Rebimo, you had a question?
I did. It was concerning the splash pad when I see no charge. I'm assuming then if someone wants to have a birthday party with younger kids, they just show up and they try and work it out, or is there a vehicle for that? It just sprung to mind.
Yes, Director Hill.
That is correct. There is no charge for the splash pad, but anyone wishing to bring large groups, whether it's a school group or a birthday party, they do advise our office, and Donna advises the staff of what groups and organizations are attending on a daily basis, just so we have an idea of how many groups are coming. If there's already 2 school groups and we get another call that another group's coming, we can say there's already 2 groups attending on that day, and normally they choose another day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Hearing nothing. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Deputy Clerk, EDO, Charbonneau's report dated April the 4th, 2022, concerning the Renfrew Farmers Market 2022 be received. Over, please. Councillor Jamison, second by Councillor Hines. Any questions or comments on this report? Or do we want to have Deputy Clerk Charbonneau give us a little rundown on this?
Sure.
Okay. Councillor Hines requests that Deputy Clerk, that you might give us just a little rundown on it.
Thank you, Mayor Eady. As you can see in the report, the BIA has approached the town for the use of Low Square for a farmer's market. That starts in May and runs through October. The idea is that it will be every Saturday, and they're requesting the use of Low Square from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. What they're asking for is to use Low Square to host 12 farmers market spaces in the Low Square green space, and asking for the preference of the closure of Railway Ave for 10 spaces, for a total of 22 spaces for their farmers market. They feel that moving the farmers market downtown will help draw more people downtown, help stimulate some business and more foot traffic, as well as add to the community aesthetic of having a farmers market downtown, and add a little bit of tourism bolster as well. As you can see in the report, there is a number of items in the discussion that provides for a site plan, as seen in Appendix A. And also they've worked with town staff to coordinate the use of garbage and recycling receptacles, barricades to close down the Railway Ave, which they will be responsible for. Again, they will coordinate this all. They're just asking for the use of Low Square. And it also should be noted that this report was brought forth to the Economic Development Committee, which they supported the recommendation to close Low Square. However, library staff have they have expressed some concerns over having Railway closed, as there are 3 parking spaces that are regular parking spaces and 2 accessible that patrons use. However, the committee supported the recommendation to go ahead and close Railway due to the fact that there's parking close on Raglan Street South for patrons to utilize during the farmers market hours of operation.
Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Hines.
Just on the map that was provided, I note there is power sources, so they're looking for the use of some power too, perhaps. Is that it? And is there a charge for that? No way. From Low Square?
Not currently.
No, okay.
Yeah, they will be charging. They will be charging the vendors. However, the BIA's mandate is not to actually make money off this. It's simply to cover operating cost and break even.
Okay.
Anything else? Councillor Sidney.
I totally support this. I think it's really great for the BIA to take the initiative and bring the farmers market back downtown. I think it was missed when it wasn't there, and it's nice to see it returning. And it's a little bit of normalcy as well as with the pandemic that's been stopping us from going outside. So it's just, I think it's a really great initiative for our community, and I congratulate the BIA for taking the leadership in it.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing nothing. All in favor?
Great. There.
Okay. Carrie, thank you. Okay. The council approved the request from the Renfrew Business Improvement Area for the use of Low Square and Railway Avenue to host the Renfrew Farmers Market on Saturdays from May 28th to October the 8th, 2022, with the exclusion of October 1st, 2022. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jamison. And any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. But the minutes of the Fire and Emergency Management Committee meeting held February 24th, 2022 be adopted as printed. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Revimo. I'll turn it over to Councillor Hines for the report.
Okay, this was our meeting of February 24th, and Councillor Revimo and I were present. Unfortunately, Councillor Jamison had another commitment, so we just moved through the meeting and discussed certainly some of the issues that had been on the table before, being the fireworks bylaw and the emergency exercise for 2022. The acting chief is getting that together, and we hope to have it before the end of the summer. And we had some discussion in regard to the old 1951 pumper truck that's owned by the Renfrew Professional Firefighters Association, and they are working with the clerk to sort that out in regard to insurance. And pretty much that was it. We did have a bit of a discussion in regard to the fire hydrants, because there was a point in the winter when there was a huge snowfall, and we had requested that people do try, if they can, to shovel out their fire hydrants, and some people have done that for sure when the snow was here. And also the acting fire chief did discuss with the director of development and works if they required assistance, that they may be able to help. And that was our report.
Good, thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Sidney.
Just a question, maybe for clarity. Under the fireworks bylaw notes in here, when it says requested clarification regarding the requirement for $5 million liability, what is that about? Is that something that
the insurance that yes, it is coming forward. Now, unfortunately, we did not get to discuss it on March 22nd. I was away that day, and basically they just did the minutes and the monthly report, but that will be coming forward in regard, and it was in regard to the insurance that folks who set off fireworks have to have. So we were getting clarification on that number.
But there's
so that'll be coming to a meeting very soon to you.
Right. But there's no need for liability insurance on the designated days already.
On
like
the
Canada Day, on like Canada Day, and like you don't need $5 million liability insurance.
The town would have liability insurance already.
No, I mean if people want to set them off at their house.
Oh, no, that.
Like I'm trying to understand this $5 million liability. Is that the individual that wants to get a permit has to have that?
Peter, maybe I'll turn it over to him.
Yes, there is a current. There's also in the current bylaw there is an expectation of them having insurance as well. And so when we went around and collected other bylaws as a sample to try and change ours, that $5 million figure stood out for us. So we wanted to get some clarification to see if that was an industry standard across, whether it was recommended by insurance companies or whether it's recommended by the fire chiefs or the fire marshals. So we're trying to get some clarity on where that $5 million figure came from, because of the 5 bylaws I think that we had and stirred into the pot to come out with the one that we're proposing, all of them had that figure. So that stood out for us enough that we sent it back for some questions.
So it's just, I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around it. So is it more of a, your home insurance has to have the $5 million, or you have to go out and specifically get $5 million liability to set up fireworks?
No, as I understood it, and I think we all understood it, it's your home ownership has to be able to absorb that liability.
Okay, perfect. That's just clarification. Thanks.
But we'll certainly get that sorted out when we bring that bylaw, Tom.
Thanks.
Councillor Sidney. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. With the minutes of the Parks, Recreation and Facilities Committee meeting held March the 15th, 2022 be adopted as printed. Mover, please. Councillor Sidney, second by Councillor Hines. Turn over to Councillor Sidney for the report.
Okay, so this our meeting was Tuesday, March 15th. We went through some communications with the Golden Age Activity Center looking to do an event out at Mattaway Park, and they were looking for us to donate the space up there at the halls, and we approved that and recommended it, as well as the Templar Knights Motorcycle Club's 10th annual toy ride for kids in August. They've been doing this every year, and every year we continue to let them use the information center as a point of start, finish, and stuff like that. So we approve that as well. We discussed the junior A hockey contract update. We're continually working on that and trying to get that finished. The Mattaway expansion permit, we're discussing that, and I know that's going to be coming to council in the future as to how that is all going to fold out. The pool agreement in Empire, as residents of Renfrew, if they're not aware, can go to the Empire pool and pay the same rates as that of somebody in Empire, and the town pays the alternative and the difference. But we're looking at, Director Hill has been working with the director down there to do a 7-year, looking at it to do like instead of basically the way it works is they'll bill us a year back. So if there was 130 users, they will bill us for the 130 users of 2021. And it goes up and down. And so we're looking to do a flat rate contract with them, similar to what Renfrew offers our neighboring municipalities to use our stuff. So Director Hill's continue to work on that, and I think it'll be a good thing if we can pull that up. The transformer update and the expansion project, we have to get a larger transformer for power, and we've been working on that, and Director Hill's been working very hard on that one, and more information for that will be coming soon. So, and we already discussed the fees for service. So, if anybody has any questions, okay. Director Hill will be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you.
Mayor Eady, if I could just quickly, I noticed there's a couple directional motions in the minutes that we could just deal with by resolution of council, just so it's clear and not just embedded in the minutes of a committee. And that's the in-kind rentals for Mattaway and the Visitors Information Center by the Golden Age Activity Center and the Templar Knights Motorcycle Club. So with council's okay, I put them in a standalone motion just so it's clearly supported by council. Okay. So that would be the council supports the Parks and Recreation Facilities Committee's recommendations that the Golden Age Activity Center be granted an in-kind rental of the Mattaway Activity Center Hall to host a fundraiser, and that the Templar Knights Motorcycle Club Canada be granted an in-kind rental of the Visitors Information Center to host their 10th annual Toys for Kids ride.
Okay. Mover for that, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jemison. Questions or comments on that? Councillor Hines.
Just a little clarification on the Golden Age Activity Center. That one-time, once-a-year use in kind of Mattaway Activity Hall is part of the agreement that the town has with the Golden Age Activity Center and the funds that they provide them. There's also the ability to have the hall in kind for the activity center once a year.
Okay.
So just to make that clear, it's not a request. I mean, they need to request it and certainly fit into the schedule that goes on out there. But indeed, it is part of the agreement that they already have with the town of Renfrew, with the Recreation Department.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. That the minutes of the Waste Management Committee meeting held March 7, 2022 be adopted as printed. Mover, please. Revimo, second by Councillor Hines. Turn over to Revimo for the report.
Thank you, Your Worship. It had slid onto the floor, so that was the panic-stricken look that you all were greeted with. We met on March the 7th. It was, of course, a Zoom meeting, a virtual meeting. And I will take you over to page 2, which is item number 7, 7.1. Where we had a conversation about Whitewater joining with us with the Household Hazards Waste Depot grouping. So we envision that the formula would indicate that they would pay 16% of the costs, which would lower ours from 22% to 18.6. There is an amendment needed for our certificate of approval, so that'll take some time. So we asked, you can see the direction we want Golder to determine the cost of the ECA, and we'll charge that back. And then also to confirm there is an administration surcharge applied to the costing that goes out to all the partners as well for the operation of the Household Hazardous Waste Program. And then in number 8.1, the grinding is completed, and the numbers are down. We're down about 500 meters squared of product coming into the waste site, and we assume that'll pick back up. Recycling of mattresses, again, we're struggling with that, whether to recycle or to, I shouldn't say struggling, we're discussing whether to recycle or to grind them. Note the cost of transporting them, storing them and transporting them to Montreal is likely a very large ticket item, but we'll know more as we get to that decision point. And then our staff have been certified, and that's to go along with the operation of the Household Hazardous Waste Program. 9.1, if you look at it, you'll see that we're still trying to get an accurate handle on how many totes we're going to need for the multi-recycling program, multi-residential, and we're looking for some partners on that. And with that, I could say we were on budget this year, and last year, I'm sorry, and to date we are as well. And we will, as we start to build our annual waste management report, these are the kinds of things you'll notice: the 3 bullet points, the household hazardous waste graph chart, and the 5-year tonnage comparison, and the 5-year waste collection forecast. So those will roll forward through that in future years, so that council and community will have an accurate picture of the volume that's going into the waste site. And with that, I can just suggest to you we'll be meeting again on May the 2nd.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the report? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, at the County Council summary report dated March the 2022 be received. Mover, please. Reeve-Emo, seconded by Councillor Sidney. Turn over to Reeve-Emo for the report.
Thank you, Worship. This is a document that's been a while in coming, but we wanted to ensure that everybody received the same information, and we were able to supplement it on occasion with other things that come. So as of May 30th, this is what occurred, and you'll note Warden Robinson noted that it was 2 years ago exactly to that date when COVID-19 in 2020 was declared an emergency for the county. As you noted from an email, Paul Morrow has resigned. He's retiring, I'm sorry, feeling that he wants to give more time to his family and volunteer in the community. And Paul's been a tremendous leader. I think since he's become CAO, he's had a mini tornado or a microburst, 2 floods, and then the pandemic. So he's been had quite a time as leader, many challenges, and we're fortunate that he was in the office at the time. And County Council raised the Ukrainian flag to show support for the terrible tragedy that's befalling the citizens of the Ukraine. The warden attended 30 meetings on behalf of council business, and that's pretty standard fare for the warden. She's been very active, and we're very well represented by her. On March the 8th, you'll note that she was a keynote speaker at the Upper Ottawa Valley Chamber of Commerce International Women's Day event, and I had a chance to view that. She did a marvelous job, and if you get a chance to go online and view it, it's worthwhile for you. March 10th, virtual Garrison Petawawa business lunch, and it's an excellent opportunity for members of the community to get information from the garrison about what their plans are, what kind of monies they're going to be spending on renovations, what deployments that they know that are coming up. March 11th, she chaired her very first in-person meeting of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. So she's been a chair for 2 years and has not had an in-person meeting. This was her first one. And of course, she sits on the AMO Board of Directors with myself as the chair of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and she attended both of those. At the meeting, we had a presentation on digital IT strategy. And so there'll be a more fulsome report coming to us and the other 16 members of County Council in the next little while. Finance and Admin reported about the Municipal Tax Equity Consulting Group being awarded for $22,000 a contract to take a review on appeals for the county and our partners. The tax policy working group, which consists of the treasurers of the county, all 17 or representatives of the 17, they sit down and work on a tax rate and then make a recommendation to County Council. The County of Renfrew endorsed Councillor Doncaster, to stand for election on FCM's Board of Directors. That'll be in June. FCM's conference is virtual this year. It's actually hybrid. It's in Regina, and it's, I believe, June 9, 10, and 11. The cost is about $800 to attend virtually, and it's always a good conference. And Glenn is standing to represent rural Ontario on their board. Community Services, Councillor Brose reported that we adopted the bylaw for the contribution agreement with the province to build 6 two-bedroom units on the corner of Lee Street in Pembroke. And we approved the Homelessness Prevention Program Investment Plan. Development property, we passed a revised tariff of fees after much discussion, and there was some announcements made about the farmers markets in Renfrew County over the summer months. And on page 4, the Ottawa Valley Tourism Association has their awards. They're going to be awarded at their annual general meeting, which will be held on the 26th of April at 10 a.m. And it'll be a Zoom meeting at this time. We noted that the board agreed to send a letter to Minister McLeod with regards to the cost of the TODS signs. Those are the tourism directional signs, the blue ones that you see on provincial highways. And so we've asked those to be capped and reviewed. County Council approved that the warden send a letter to the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission supporting the near surface disposal facility. Again, we have great confidence in the staff at Chalk River Labs going forward with this, as they're all our friends and neighbors and have the interest of making sure that we are safe. So we have confidence when they recommend it that we can support it as well. And you'll note one of the bullets where it talks about, we sent a letter to the Minister of Northern Development and Mines. That's with regards to the Algonquin Trail. Transferring all those parcels of land, and I don't remember the exact number, from Smith Falls through until to near Mattawa. There's just a great number of them. And some of the ones in the northern section, which run from approximately Petawawa through to Mattawa, go through Crown land, and there are not deeds and plans associated with them. So what we'd like to do is use the compiled plans instead of using survey costs, because it would save 6 figures, likely in the neighborhood of about $200,000. And so we could put that into the trail as opposed to paying fees. And there's a economic development program that I can't tell you about yet. So we've signed an agreement with OMAFRA, and there should be an announcement coming soon. It's one of those difficult situations where we have to go into closed, talk about it, and then come out into open and pass the bylaw without really saying what it's for. But you should hear something in the next little while. And with regards to the six units of affordable housing, we did let a design build tender out at this same meeting. It'll be issued soon. Our vaccination policy, we changed. We repealed the old one and changed it to a newer one. The paramedics are working with a point of care ultrasound service. And it's a diagnostic tool, not to be flipped, but it's somewhat like the little phone that Bones McCoy uses to take a look at people. So I think it's the first generation of those. We're probably 1,000 generations away from one of those, but it's similar to that. Ministry of Health provided County of Renfrew paramedic services with $1.5 million in one-time funding to support them for general expenses and vaccination distribution. And the bottom bullet, you'll be pleased to hear about. The province of Ontario has signed an agreement with the County of Renfrew. We will manage the money for the Ontario Health Team's transformation. So it's $1.1 million. So we'll be the paymaster as they sort out how they're going to turn the current system into an Ontario Health Team for the whole of the county. And next, the page 6, just moving over to take a look at it. There was, as noted through our own development and operations, there was a report on Phil, and at this point, it's not an issue for the county as well. And a transportation master plan, the bid is going out. The tender is going out, and the expectation it's about $188,000. And you can see the bullet points that are outlined down through the last part of the page. It's expecting it'll take about 2 years for it to be completed. And with that, the county recommended and agreed to waiving the tourism signage fees on county roads for 2022. And that's what I can report to you at this time. Thank you.
Any questions on the report?
Very informative.
I have to commend the county staff. This is about 400 pages of documentation compiled down to what they and we view as salient. That was always the struggle. I could only get down to about 40 pages.
So good. Well, thank you very much for that report. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Hines.
Just a comment to say thank you very much, Reeve-Email. It's very informative, and certainly the county staff well laid out. So good news on lots of fronts.
Good. Anything else? Hearing nothing. All in favor? Will be carried. Thank you. That the minutes of the Renfrew Police Services Board meeting held November the 11th, 2021 be adopted as printed. Mover, please. Councillor Hines, second by Councillor Jemison. Turn it over to Councillor Hines for the report, if you wish.
Sure. This is a little bit of old news. We have had meetings since, and I actually have spoke to them about maybe getting these here a little quicker, but their thing is to want to approve the minutes at the board and then move them on to council. So such as it is. We did review the financial reports that we were provided from September to October, and when there is money left over in the budget, it usually goes to next year's advertising. We buy a little section on the radio and in the paper for various ads that come out, and we did that again. We did have the Chief Superintendent Thomas there, and we questioned him a bit on how police services boards might look in future, like our board. And actually they're not very the OPP have not been really privy to that or any consultation on that. And his opinion was that the boards will still have some responsibility to support the community going forward, and we really haven't heard anything on that sense. So that we always have a detachment commander's report, and if you were to look at the report that was previous in our agenda, that's somewhat what it looks like from last year to this year on that specific, for those specific months. And we also discussed there the installation of community safety zone signs, and the county is installing crossover lights, or the town installed the crossover lights certainly on Raglan Street that accommodates the students from St. Joe's, and if they walk up that far to have to cross to go up to Horton Heights, the children from St. Thomas. We did have some updates on where the speed spy cam was. There were some complaints on Otter Ridge, and they do take those seriously, and the spy cam was put out there, and there wasn't as much speeding there as maybe the residents felt. And when you do live there and you see a car going by your house a couple times a day and speeding, it does seem like a lot. So anyway, they're very interested in looking at those things and putting some officers there to slow down things. Other business discussed. This is kind of old news. The flags that were up downtown have been now taken down. Those were the flags that with the hockey players on, and they came from MTO, and they were displayed on the main street from November 15th, and then taken down for the Christmas flags to go up. And I think that's about it for the highlights. If there are any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them. And again, I'll be on their case about bringing these forward a little quicker. Oops. Mary D, or mute, or that's usually me.
All right. Okay, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, any new or unfinished business? Reed Emo.
Thank you. I just to ask, if council would offer instruction to Planner Withers that he do respond on behalf of the town with regards to Bill 109. It's a rather onerous bill in the sense that one of the things that they make note of is the ability to apply sanctions to a municipality if we are not able to respond on the timelines within the that are expected for applications. I think that's probably the most significant piece that is worrisome, because the timelines are tight enough that it's a challenge to meet them, first of all, and in a lot of instances municipalities can't meet them, and then we are held hostage by waiting on reports from both the applicant and other agencies. And in the legislation, the only agency or the only partner, small p partner, very small p partner, possibly that has sanction would be the municipal government. And so that's not fair. And it's not a tool to cut red tape. And it may in fact betray the bias of the housing task force that the province appointed. If you recall, there was not a municipal planner, nor was there any municipal representation on that panel. There were some finance people and some people from the development industry and a few folks that had a real estate background. No reflection on them and their abilities, but to not have the municipal sector at that table and only have advice, and then who knows what happened after the municipal sector gave their advice and left the room without having constant communication and information being exchanged. So I would hope that we would be able to submit our own response to this. The county has a very good response, but I think the more responses the province gets, the much more effective our sector will be. Thank you.
Okay. Connor Withers, would you like to say a couple of words on that?
Not if there aren't any questions. I think the information I've circulated is there's a bit to it, but at the end of the day, Reeve Emo is correct that with respect to penalizing municipalities financially for in the event that a 60-day timeline for site plan approvals isn't met, or a 90-day zoning bylaw timeline. I'm just saying, by and large, 90 days is sufficient for most zoning bylaw amendments. For site plan approval, because of the detail in the drawings and the materials that's submitted, these are design drawings that are required to be constructed exactly, and so there, it's much less conceptual than you have at the zoning bylaw amendment stage. So it's always been a running joke. It used to be 30 days for site plan approval. It's in the Planning Act. It's been that for a long time. And there's not a municipality in Ontario that meets that. And if they do, they approve it in principle with a condition that they submit all the studies. And so the effect is no different. So they're not getting in the ground any faster. It's just a shell game. But 60 days isn't any better, and now the province is talking about taking money away from municipalities. So, I think the province has been in the business of downloading responsibility to municipalities. My view is that if there is a problem with provincial policy and the process established by the Planning Act, and I think there is a lot of room for improvement, that they should make those changes and not just shove it off onto the municipalities and hope for the best. That's certainly not a good solution. So certainly happy to prepare that correspondence and for Mayor Eda's signature, and I'll circulate that to council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Councillor Hines.
Just a short little shout out to the Junior A team who's playing in the playoffs. We wish them well. I'm sure as council that they progress through the playoffs and do really well, so that they're still playing at the rink there for some time to come. So shout out to them for their game tonight.
Great, thank you. Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing. And the Renfrew Town Council convened in closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Municipal